Rich Steves at Cloud Expo 2012. I'm here with Andy Walton from Cirba. Andy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Rich.
What do you have to show us today?
Well, we're showing the Cirba control console. Cirba is a manufacturer out of Toronto that makes predictive analytics software for helping companies visualize the risk and efficiency in their virtual and cloud environments. So what we're showing is our version 7.1 control console, which is kind of it is a revolutionary way to view efficiency and risk at a single glance. So if you want to see it, I'll show you a few pieces of it.
Please, show us what you have.
So what you're looking at is essentially, this is a virtual environment. Could be VMware, it could be a Hyper-V, Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, Power VM. So you get a visualization of the clusters, the hosts, and the VMs themselves. And where they place within the spectrum is basically an indication as to whether or not they're at risk. So we've got workloads over here that are at risk. There's other ones over here that are essentially wasting resources. So these ones would be over provisioned. Maybe users ask for an extra large and they're actually using the equivalent of a small. What the software does is make predictions. It will make recommendations on allocations and placements to try to drive these dots in the middle. So it's kind of like a Goldilocks, too hot, too cold, just right kind of thing.
And it looks like a nice, easy visual way to see all of that.
Absolutely, and it's all governed by policy, so it's not just simple thresholds, it's around business constraints. We look at availability requirements, SLAs, placement requirements. We might not be able to place a research server together with a trading server as an example, or mix customer environments together. So it's all around governing these environments, which are quite different at the policy level, sometimes all the way down to the individual VMs.
So it sounds like a really practical solution for companies.
Yeah, companies get a lot of value out of it. Our enterprise customers, like big banks, some of our service providers, managed service providers, they get a lot of value out of using our software on a day-to-day basis. So, and I don't know if you want to see a couple other things here.
Sure, show us a little bit more.
So, part of it is identifying the risk and the requirements for moving things around, but the other key thing that we find is, much like a hotel reservation system, you can't run a hotel without actually reserving and holding capacity. So we have a revolutionary way to say in 30 days, new incoming bookings, you're going to see them come into the environment. The dots shift around, and essentially now you have an indication that your clusters are starting to fill up. In 60 days, if I continue to add infrastructure against that one, you're going to see that cluster move into the red, which is now an indication that you're oversaturated, too many resources. And at this point, I'd have the ability to now drag some resources out of here. I can actually pick them and say, you know what, we got to take these ones and move them to the cloud as an example. And so once I do that and run that transformation analytic, that's now going to allow me to move that infrastructure out of the environment, or I could add new supply. But now in 90 days, what you'll see is that cluster move back in. There's the outbound bookings, again, acting like a hotel system for your cloud environment.
So really easy to see and really easy to use.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thanks, Rich.